Welcome to another episode of Focus on Taekwondo. I'm the host and founder of this podcast, Mark Russell. Have you ever wondered what it takes to get your black belt, win a tournament, perfect a pumse, or defend yourself in the street? Well, here at Focus on Taekwondo, we intend to help you find those answers. We interview top professionals in their field, including masters, athletes and coaches, to give you an insight into what it takes for you to be the best you can be at this modern day, ancient global martial art and sport that is Taekwondo. So today's interview is with Jade Jones, a double Olympic champion. So before the interview starts, we'd just like to obviously wish her a happy 25th birthday. She just celebrated that in the middle of this week. Don't forget to share the podcast, and also if you'd like to subscribe on iTunes and leave us a comment, that'd be great. Okay, so Jade, welcome to the podcast. We're just going to ask you a few questions, is that okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so Jade, you grew up in a small town called Flint in Wales. Did you ever imagine one day you would become a double Olympic champion?
No, definitely, when I first started Taekwondo, it was literally just going to my local club. I didn't even know it was Taekwondo at that point. I just knew I was doing a martial art. And I just fell in love with the flashy kicks and spins. And literally from the first day I did go, the instructor did say I was a natural. But yeah, I could have never imagined all this happening, and to be sitting here now, double Olympic champion, is just, insane. And like you said, Flint is just such a small town, so to have come from that place as well and to be double Olympic champion, it's just, amazing.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't actually include your gold from the Youth Olympics. So technically, that's 3.
Private joke.
So, yeah, exactly. How was it to win the first ever gold medal at the Games?
The Youth Olympics, you mean?
Well, all of them really, the youth and the other one,
Yeah, that's why I'm excited for Tokyo, because I genuinely believe I can win that next one, because history has been such a big part of me. Every time I've done it first, or there's been some sort of history to it. So I just think it's only right that, do you know what I mean, I win it in Tokyo and get that history as well. But yeah, no, I remember the Youth Olympic Games was such a big moment to me, because I was standing on the podium and it was exactly like an Olympics. And I just remember the national anthem playing and, the Great Britain flag rising up. And I just thought, I want to do this for real. I want it to be the proper Olympics. And it was just a great experience, really. And then obviously London, that's just an undescribable feeling of winning the Olympics in the hometown in London. I was only 19, and I remember it getting hyped up so much, and everyone was saying to me, "Oh, you're only young, it doesn't matter if you don't win this one, you can win the next one." And I just knew I had it in my head. I was like, no, this is the one I want to win.
Yeah, good time.
This is mine. This is 100% the one I want to win. And I remember coming out, and my coach was like, "Don't look up, because it'll put you off." And there was literally, I couldn't help but look up, because there's just so many people screaming, dancing, banging their feet, and it was just a surreal moment, thinking wow, this is all for me. Yeah.
So where did your Taekwondo journey begin? Can you give us a small look into your past to present with Taekwondo?
Yeah, so my Taekwondo journey began obviously in Flint, and it was a semi-contact style ITF, so with the TAGB, and back at the time that's all I knew, so I reckon that that's where I got a good check from and learn all my basics. And then it was when I was I think it was 15 or 14, I remember seeing the Olympics on the TV, and remember seeing Sarah Stevenson win a bronze, and I just seeing the Olympics and was just I want one of those medals. I mean, I want to win that medal. And from then on, I looked into it and seen what I had to do to be Olympic champion, and I had to change over and go to the full contact style, the Olympic style. And then I started going to Manchester Aces in Brian's, and also Dave Baker's as well.
That's Brian Green.
Yeah. So I was literally just training that, and it was hard. I literally went from being the big fish to the little fish all over again, and I was getting beat first fight. I just felt terrible. I wasn't good, and I just thought, keep working at it. And there was times where I thought, maybe I'm not good at this one. Maybe it's just not the same. But I just kept literally training away, and then eventually it just all clicked together, and I started winning competitions in this one as well.
Yeah, brilliant. So you've won countless amounts of gold medals, the Olympics, the Europeans, some Grand Prix, but the one title that's so far slipped away is the World Championships. So is this a big goal for you, or does it not worry you? Are you just focused on the Olympics?
Yeah, it's hard to say really, because obviously like being a Taekwondo athlete, of course I want to tick everything off my box, and it is important to have them all ticked off, the Worlds, the Olympics and the Europeans. So like you said, it's just one thing left to tick off. But in the past, like the Worlds has always come just after the Olympics, and you know, it's no lie that I can't get up for the Worlds as much as I have it for the Olympics. I don't know what it is, like I think people are different, whereas like the Olympics, it's like do or die, I have to win. It's like the biggest thing in my life. And then the Worlds can just never compare, and then I just get too nervous for it, but then I'm not as hungry for it. So yeah, it's been hard, but I'm really like looking forward to the next one, because the next one's in Manchester, and I can never like lose in front of my, you know, my home ground and my home soil. So hopefully that'll give me the boost I need to finally tick the Worlds off my list.
So what is a typical day in the life of Jade Jones?
Well, when I'm not doing all the celebrity stuff, the dating and all that, a typical day is like I'd get up, have my breakfast, and then, even though a lot of your kids didn't want to know what I had for breakfast, so I'd have my breakfast, go to the first session, and it'd be like a technical session or sometimes sparring, and then literally go back, try and recover, like sometimes ice baths or, you know, all sorts of different methods to try and recover. And then I do another kicking session, like conditioning, or it could be anything. And then also I do like weights as well, so to keep strong, and then that's it really. Just eat, sleep, train, repeat.
That's it. No, that's good. The life of a Taekwondo athlete. Okay, so you mentioned there a little bit, we're seeing lots more of you on TV these days. There was obviously the jump first, and now celebrities go dating. Is this something you fancy doing more of? Maybe I'm a celebrity, get me out of here next? Or?
Yeah, definitely. I'd definitely be up for doing I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I think that's the next one that I'd love to do, like just the challenge aspect. And on all the other shows I've put on weight, so at least in this one I'd lose it. But I really enjoy doing that. Like a lot of people don't know, but my whole life has literally been dedicated to Taekwondo, and I've give everything, you know, I've got for Taekwondo. Like I haven't had no like teenage years or you know, young years, like when everyone else is going out drinking and, you know, just having a laugh and doing your normal day-to-day things. Like I've just been so strict and so focused on becoming the best. So I think, you know, after like winning me 2 Olympic goals, it's just been a nice time to just be a normal person for a bit, have a bit of fun. And like you said, like winning the Olympics brings these great opportunities that, you know, they're one in a lifetime thing. You don't know if you're going to break your leg tomorrow, you don't know if they're going to come again. So yeah, my motto is just like grab it while you can. And
just live for today.
Just enjoy it. And then now, you know, I've finished all that and back to the gym now, back to the slog of trying to do it 3 times.
So other members of the Team GB Taekwondo national team, they have their own equipment, clothing brand, etc. Is this something you've considered? Would you use your nickname, the Headhunter, or?
I definitely have thought about it, and I want to do it because a lot of people have asked and said that, you know, they'd love like my branded clothing and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's just finding the time really, but definitely going to do it. I think maybe like use my initials like JJ or I'm sure I'll have to put the Headhunter in there somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be good. Oh well, I'm sure. Like you obviously you did a seminar at Focus in Elgin here, and a lot of the kids they were, you know, they're really looking forward to using some of your equipment and you know, obviously getting some of your kit if you do it. So I'm sure we'll see some people running about in Elgin with JJ on it eventually.
That would be amazing.
So how do you handle the pressures that competitions throws at you? You're the one to beat now, so is it more pressure to deal with, or is it motivation that in turn keeps you winning?
Like since London really I've felt that pressure, and at first, you know, being 19 and I wasn't actually the best in the world at that point. I'd just done amazing at, you know, the Olympics. So it was hard to deal with, and it's something that I've had to get better and better at. But yeah, I just see it as like I'd rather be in that position than not be. And it is hard, and I still am, like I do still struggle with it sometimes. But it's just trying to think like the way I deal with it best is like my medals that I've already won are never gonna go. So like sometimes if you bring them to the next competition, that's when you struggle. Whereas they're never going to go. Like, part of them to decide, I'm Olympic champion forever, so the next thing is a bonus. So I'm just trying to see it as a challenge and as a bonus. And with the next Olympics, like, no one in the whole world has ever got 3 Olympic golds, so it was obviously difficult, it's obviously hard. So I'm trying to see it as this like big challenge, and can I be the one to do it rather than, you know, putting pressure on myself.
Yeah. When you finally decide to hang up your headguard, how would you like to spend your time?
That's a hard one, because like my whole life has just been about Taekwondo. It's hard to know what, but I think I definitely, like, I've enjoyed coaching my brother Luke a few times and like helping him out. So I think like I'd like to go into coaching, or yeah, I don't know, maybe this TV stuff would go somewhere. But yeah, right now I'd say I'd like to go into coaching.
Yeah. You've got lots of options anyway, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. So Paul Green was your coach for a long time. He's now working with USA, if my sources are correct. I'm sure, like most of Team GB, you'll miss him. Who now coaches you, and what's their background?
Well, I'm just in the position at the minute where I'm changing coaches and having to think like who best to work with in the future.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a bit up in the air at the minute, but yeah, obviously like we're all absolutely gutted that Paul's left. You know, he was the best, and you know, winning 2 Olympic gold medals with him. You know, I'm bound to be sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, like saying like I can't just like roll over and like start crying about it and quit Taekwondo. So
Yeah.
I just have to keep moving forward. And so again, I'm just going to try and take it as another challenge. Like, you know, I won 2 Olympic golds with Paul. Right, let's see if I can do it on my own, or see if I can do it with someone else.
Yeah.
So just trying to take it in a challenge aspect.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone on to new experiences, and you're doing exactly the same. You know, it's just what happens, isn't it? People move on and do new things, and you know, you're obviously, this is their 3rd one, so it's a new challenge. So yeah, it's good to change things around. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, do you think the fact that Paul had been to the Olympics in the past, do you think that helped you and Paul prepare for that experience?
I'm not sure really. I think like what was so good about Paul is he was literally a psycho. So even though he was like annoying at the time,
Yeah.
he was that like committed, and literally the way he'd done it back in the day, because he wasn't professional, he had to do everything like by the book to even compete against the professionals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, he was just a bit of a psychopath in his ways, and making sure you're 100% training every second of the day. So I think that's what like Paul was really good at.
It's very difficult, isn't it? I mean, I suppose back in those days, Paul didn't have the lifestyle coaches and things like that to help. So his way of training was full on.
Yeah.
But now I suppose, you know, we realise now that it's not about being full on. It is about living as well. You know, there needs to be a balance, doesn't there? You know, so.
Yeah, definitely. I think like different stages in your career is different. Like saying like now, like I've trained that many years, like there's only so many times I could do a back leg, whereas, do you know what I mean, if I keep training like I did when I was a 17-year-old, it just wouldn't work anymore. So I think it's just about adapting and knowing what's best for you.
So how do you feel the sport of Taekwondo is just now? Is there anything you would suggest to improve it?
It's hard to say, because I used to love the old school Taekwondo, as in like even though I wasn't around that much then, you know, like how flashy and sharp and like just how crisp and like rapid you had to be. But then also like the fighting aspect of the new style, like I think it's sometimes better to watch because there's more fighting, there's more like pushing and headshots and things like that. So I just feel like they need to mix the two together.
Yeah.
Like, even though there's a lot more headshots, they're like tap now. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you can get hit in the head and you didn't even know. I think it would be better if they could bring it back, as in like more headshots, but they had to be solid. So you know, it had to hit clean, it had to be powerful, and you know, you actually know when you've been hitting the head.
That's obviously not because you're the headhunter then, is it? No. You don't want any more advantage. No, but
it should just be headshots.
That's it, exactly, yeah. No, I mean, I think with the 2 points now, obviously, to the body, I think that brings back the old style of Taekwondo as well a bit more, Because
like even the big like dangly fighters, like if someone works good in the clinch or in the short distance, they've got more chance now, whereas like back then they had no chance at all.
If someone out there is doing the sport of Taekwondo right now and hoping to be the next Jade Jones, what advice would you give to them and why?
Let's have a think.
You don't want anybody to be the next Jade Jones, do you?
Think of what the best advice would. I'd think like just thrive on it. Like I said to some of your kids, like I used to like love getting in a fight and love having a scrap, and I wasn't afraid to to get hurt or to have a fight and to get aggressive, whereas like a lot of kids or girls especially, like, do you know what I mean, they're like painting their nails and they don't want to have a fight or they don't want it to be hard, whereas I liked it to be hard. I liked it to be tough. So I think like having that enthusiasm for hard training is like definitely the way forward, and just enjoying it as well. Like if you don't enjoy the training, it's God, you got a long time to like hate it. Whereas if you're buzzing off the training, do you know what I mean? It just gets better and better. Yeah.
So the next few questions are some from my listeners. The first one is, do you have any advice for parents or family members of young athletes on how to keep them motivated and interested?
For parents, yeah, I just think like it's a hard balance with parents because they do need a push and they do need like dragging down sometimes, but then it's like understanding if they just need that push or whether they're actually not enjoying it. Do you know what I mean? Because like I said, my granddad, there was times when I was like, oh granddad, I want to go and play out with my friends, or I don't want to do it, and he'd be like, you're going. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like people think that's wrong, but I think it's right to a certain extent, because of course kids are short-term thinkers, so of course they're going to want to play out, of course they're going to want to do that, but as soon as I got there I'd enjoy it again and I'd be fine. So yeah, it's just understanding the balance of whether they just can't be bothered that day or whether they genuinely don't like it.
And obviously you're thankful to your granda for taking you there, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. Now, like, do you know what I mean? If I would have just played in the park for 20 minutes rather than go to the Taekwondo session, I wouldn't be here today. So, I owe everything to my granddad, and he literally used to... Yeah, and for parents as well, just... They need you, like, as much as they need the training. Like, my granddad had to drive me all over the country and buy all the equipment, and he'd be in the garden, like, holding the pads for me to do extra sessions. So... That's what I mean. The parents have got to be just as motivated as a kid.
What age were you when you started Taekwondo, and what made you choose Taekwondo?
So I was 8 years old when I started, and I started to get a little bit cheeky and naughty as a kid. So my granddad took me down to... He just wanted to make me start martial arts. So it was just by chance it was Taekwondo. And I just remember like just seeing all the flashy kicks and spins, and... Like back then I used to do all sports, but I could, like, my mum would like buy me all the kit and then I'd quit the next week. Whereas they thought it was just the same again, like, Jade, you're not getting the kit, you won't stick at it. And this, like, I've just stuck at it for the whole time.
Yeah, well, that's cool. You maybe hear a baby in the background. That's Louise Mayer, one of Jade's friends. So she's here listening to the podcast as well.
Shout out to little Zach.
Yeah, that's it. So, do you need to be pretty strict with what you eat, and also what is your favourite food?
Yeah, I have to be like strict, when I am competing, because I'm obviously in the -57 category, and I have to stay at that weight. And because I've done the category for, God, it's over 10 years now, so it does get harder and harder as you get older. So, but yeah, I'm really lucky though, because I'm naturally in that weight. So I think that's quite important as well. Like, even though you have to diet to make the best weight, try and stay around your natural, because then you're strong and you've still got all your nutrients. So yeah, like, I obviously eat healthy and eat the right things, lots of protein after training, and lots of like meat, vegetables, and then just carbohydrates, like, based round the training instead of just eating them all the time. Like, based round the training session.
So what is your favourite food? You didn't answer that there.
So I think my favourite food, I'd have to say Sunday dinner. A good Sunday roast.
So a good mix, that's good, So who or what inspires you to keep going? What is your motivation to stay at Olympic standard?
It's a good question, really. Like, it's hard because, it's no lie, like, I do go up and down with motivation sometimes, and it is hard, like, especially because the Olympics goes in 4-year cycles. So, like, my next, like, big massive goal is Tokyo, and it's 2.5 years away. So it's like, how do I stay motivated for another 2.5 years? But it's just like knowing what I want to be, and like I said, I've got this talent and this chance to be, the biggest legend in Taekwondo. Like I said, no one has done 3, so that's my motivation. Like, I'd literally, when I'm older, I'd kick myself if I didn't give everything I had to try and become that. So so at the minute that's my motivation. But back then it's just small goals. So the first one was to win, I don't know, an A-class competition, second one's to get in the academy. I think I was really good at like my mum laughs because I used to have like a tick list on my wall, and it'd be like to do this, and I literally like ticked off everything. It was like to get in the academy, be the first person to win the Olympics. I literally like ticked it all off, and she was like, back then she thought, haha, Jade, do you know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah.
And then like literally ticked it all off.
Yeah. So you had a vision. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to set goals. I think that's like an important thing.
So how has what you have achieved so far changed your life, and what dreams has it helped you follow?
Yeah, I think I don't really notice as much, but then when I look back, it definitely has changed my life. Like, I'm from a tiny place in Flint, you know, grew up in a council house, and didn't have much money, and literally, like, you know, I see some people from like my area, like, I don't know, into drugs and, you know, just drinking and just not like following their dreams and aspirations really. They just stopped at things. So, you know, I've been travelling the world, I've met so many amazing people, and you know, living a good life thanks to Taekwondo, and just to wake up every morning and, you know, to have the medals that I've got is just like an amazing feeling. So yeah, I've like got to be grateful to Taekwondo.
One of the last questions, or one of the last questions from our listeners, what strength and conditioning do you do leading up to the Olympics?
As in like the opposite sides of Taekwondo, or?
Well, I think, like, you know, so from a point of view of the strength and conditioning, what's your training like up to the Olympics? You know, are you doing more weights? Are you doing less weights? Are you doing more sport specific? You know, what would you say?
We work in phases, so like we have general prep, which is like to get strong and to all the fitness stuff. So then I'd do like an S&C session every day. So it'd be 3 days a week weights, and then it'd be like 2 days a week like running and hard cardio and things like that. And then as we get into variation phase, and then that's like a mix of the two. So you take away like 2 of the S&C, so then it's like a bit of kicking, bit of strength. And then in competition phase, it's like mainly Taekwondo then. So you don't want your legs to be too heavy. So a couple of weeks before the Olympics, I won't be lifting no heavy weights. It'd start to taper down, and then you just short, sharp sessions and feeling fast and feeling strong. So you actually think you train more the closer you get to the Olympics, but you actually train less because you've done all the hard work here, and then it like tailors down, so you feel
you're hungry
sharp.
for it. One last question. What is it that makes Taekwondo different to other martial arts, and how would you describe what it takes to be a black belt?
Okay. I think like Taekwondo is different because there's so many attributes to be good, like so many different sports or martial arts. It's like, if you do this, you'll be the best, or you have to be the fastest, you have to be the strongest. Whereas Taekwondo, like, you could be the strongest, but you're not the fastest, you're not the most agile, or you haven't got sneaky kicks. Like, literally, I couldn't put my finger on what is the best thing to have really, because you just need a bit of all of them, or one person could win because they're strong, the other person could win because something else. So I think that's why Taekwondo is so exciting, and just like the flashy kicks, and you know, it's really dynamic, and it's just like a great sport really. And yeah, to be a good black belt, I think you know, you got to be a role model and like be respectful, and just have the dedication to put the hours in, to put the work in, and just like, yeah, once you are a black belt, to help others and to make others like be good.
Thank you very much for the interview, Jade. I'm sure all our listeners are with me in wishing you all the best for Tokyo 2020, and we'll all be watching when that 3rd gold medal goes round your neck.
Cheers, thank you very much.
So I'm sure you agree that was a great interview. Anyone looking to get in touch with Jade, she has a few social media sites. With Instagram and Twitter, it's Jade Jones TKD, no spaces. And her YouTube channel and Facebook is Jade Jones. So if you'd like to hear more interviews about Taekwondo, don't forget to subscribe, like and leave a comment on iTunes. And also you can check out our website on www.focusontaekwondo.com for all the links and more information on the podcast.